We interact with online creators every single day, often assuming the people we watch on our screens are consistent, flawless human beings. But comedian Samay operates on a very different baseline philosophy. The personalities audiences worship online are nothing more than fabricated characters. Recognizing the pressure of keeping up a pristine facade, Samay actively built a defensive internet strategy. He intentionally curated a horrible, edgy, and offensive online persona. By setting the bar for his behavior low, he eliminated the suffocating stress of making mistakes. He proved personas are easily manipulated when he appeared on the television show Kanbanega Karopati. Samay masked his edgy internet self and played the role of a respectful, squeaky clean contestant. He was mimicking the prestigious standards set by the show's host, Amitabh Bachchan, seen here projecting the ultimate aura of pure, family-friendly respectability. On the internet, authenticity is a liability. Constructing a perfectly clean public image builds a fragile glass house around a creator. The exact moment a single inevitable mistake is made, that protective glass completely shatters, and total, inescapable destruction immediately follows. That destruction arrived during an episode of Samay's hit show, India's Got Latent. His guest was Ranveer Alabadia, an influencer who spent 10 years curating a spiritual, yoga-focused persona. Midway through the show, Ranveer broke character and delivered a highly vulgar joke involving parents. The internet erupted. The scale of the outrage wasn't entirely about the joke itself. It was driven by a psychological reaction. Millions of followers felt cheated that Ranveer's pure, spiritual character had suddenly slipped. The backlash escaped the internet. News channels debated for days whether influencers were destroying the youth. Official police complaints were filed across multiple states, including Maharashtra and Rajasthan. The political escalation peaked with this man, Himanta Biswa Sarma, the chief minister of Assam, who personally filed a complaint against the comedians. The irony was lost in the panic. The live recording was 5 hours long, packed with uncensored jokes about religion, caste, and gender. Samay acted as a filter, spending hours editing the video down to sanitize it and protect everyone on stage from political cancellation. Yet, despite his efforts, he still became the primary target of the state. The digital ecosystem's demand for absolute purity creates a highly toxic, bad faith environment. A single lapse in character triggers a cascade of legal threats and political pressure that can dismantle a career in days. The controversy peaked exactly as Samay boarded a flight to the United States for the biggest comedy tour of his career. Upon landing, he watched his life savings plummet into jeopardy. Death threats filled his inbox, and malicious actors leaked his parents' phone numbers to the public. Facing the cancellation of his tour, Samay began suffering severe panic attacks before stepping onto the stage. But this anxiety was rooted in a much older threat. Look at this landscape of Kashmir. Samay's family are Kashmiri pundits, forced to flee this serene ancestral homeland in the 1990s to escape rising militancy. His father worked tirelessly to rebuild their lives, eventually placing Samay in a prestigious school in the busy streets of Hyderabad, seen here. Moving to a new region left Samay isolated. Because of his fair skin and outsider status, he faced years of brutal bullying and racism. To survive, Samay developed a psychological defense mechanism as a child. He learned to perfectly mask his pain and anxiety, burying his trauma so he wouldn't break his hardworking father's heart or burden his mother. Standing backstage in the US, facing the collapse of his career and threats to his life, Samay instinctively deployed that exact same childhood technique. He suppressed his overwhelming panic and executed his comedy shows flawlessly, without the audience suspecting anything. In this crisis, the masking skills Samay learned as a bullied child became the primary tools he used to keep his career moving forward while he was internally falling apart. Despite the successful shows, the reality of the situation dragged him to absolute rock bottom. Seeking an escape, he went to a US casino, only to have poker dealers and cab drivers recognize him and warn of pending police cases. Back in India, goons attacked the comedy club run by his friend's elderly parents. Overwhelmed with guilt, Samay took a massive overdose of sleep medication just to briefly shut off the world. During this dark period, he had a tearful video call with his panicked mother. In stark contrast, his father remained completely stoic, casually sending Samay internet memes during the absolute peak of the crisis. When Samay finally spoke to his father directly, that stoicism shattered into profound support. His dad delivered the exact grounding advice Samay needed to hear, telling him, "The show exists because of you. You don't exist because of the show." This single sentence provided a clarity that fans and PR teams could not offer. By connecting with his father, Samay found a source of stability that existed entirely outside the demands of his digital audience. Samay and his friend Balraj flew back to India, fully expecting to be arrested at the airport. Instead, the media was nowhere to be found. On the exact day they landed, the comedian pictured here, Kunal Kamra, released a highly controversial video offending a major political party. By sheer luck, Kamra absorbed the entire media news cycle almost immediately, allowing Samay to slip through completely unnoticed. He was soon summoned to a police station for interrogation. Sitting across from a high-ranking officer, Samay was asked a very simple question. Was he willing to apologize? This forced a truly definitive ideological choice. Part of him wanted to stand his ground. He thought of George Orwell's belief that every joke is a tiny revolution. During the taping of that very episode, a female comic named Apurva had faced a deeply vulgar, misogynistic insult from a male rapper. She fired back with a devastating, savage roast, winning the room. Remembering that moment made the police complaints feel like a necessary price to pay for comedic revolution. But Orwell's idealism clashed heavily with the harsh ancestral wisdom of the Kashmiri Pandits. Look at the protesters in this image, demanding recognition of their historical survival. Faced with the power of the state of Assam, Samay realized his ancestors didn't survive by fighting losing battles. Their rule was simple: you only fight when the battle is fair. Otherwise, you flee and you survive. Samay apologized. He chose the calculated survival strategy of his ancestors, prioritizing his long-term future over a symbolic but destructive stand against the state. The choice to survive paid off. After laying low for months, Samay returned stronger than ever. He launched a massive tour across Europe and Australia, selling 300,000 tickets, and announced an even wilder Season 2 of India's Got Latent. The entire ordeal provided him with a sharp, newfound clarity. He realized internet fame is a fake game built entirely on hollow validation, and he vowed to abandon caring about public perception entirely. Ending his comeback special, Samay delivered a profound piece of advice to his audience. He warned them not to put their hearts into their work or the endless pursuit of money. The heart, he explained, must be saved entirely for friends and family. The ultimate victory over the internet's toxic, identity-destroying machine is simply realizing it isn't real. True life and true survival only exists offline.